To a family torn apart by the brutal murder of a young couple. Nancy and Richard Langert were shot to death in their own home.
Nancy's sister did her best to find peace, but her road to redemption took a surprising twist years after the murders. 48 Hours' Maureen Maher has her story.
The journey of the last 25 years has really tested my faith.
Jean Bishop will never forget that Palm Sunday in 1990 when she learned her sister and brother-in-law had been murdered.
It was my father on the phone, and the first thing he said to me is that Nancy and Richard have been killed.
Nancy and Richard Langert, Jean's younger sister and brother-in-law, had been shot in the basement of their Winnetka townhouse. The killer's identity shocked everyone. He was a teenager from a local high school, David Biro. Former Winnetka Police Sergeant Patty McConnell.
So ironic that it's just a kid from the neighborhood.
Biro was charged with murder and pled not guilty. At his 1991 trial, Biro insisted a friend was the true killer, but a jury didn't buy it, and Biro was found guilty. Amazingly, Jean forgave David Biro.
I think here's what my forgiveness was like. I forgive you, and now I'm wiping you off my hands like dirt.
Then, 22 years after the murders, Jean took the remarkable step of writing to him. Biro responded with an astonishing admission.
He wrote, "I am guilty of killing your sister Nancy and her husband Richard," and I started to cry.
That launched Jean on a journey.
We're in front of Pontiac Prison, where I come to visit the person who killed my family members.
And this journey has led to an incredible change of heart.
So you believe he deserves a second chance, he deserves an opportunity,
Yes.
to perhaps get out?
Yes.
Well, so Maureen Maher joins us live now from 48 Hours, their newsroom. Maureen, Jean talks about a second chance. How could that actually happen?
Well, in 2012, the Supreme Court ruled that mandatory life in prison without parole for juveniles was cruel and unusual punishment. Illinois is one of over a dozen states that have made that law retroactive, which will give Biro an opportunity for resentencing. So he will be resentenced. That is not in question. What the sentence will be remains to be seen. He could get exactly what he has right now, life in prison. He could get a reduced sentence, or he could be set free.
And Maureen, how many times has Jean met Biro in prison?
Dozens of times, and she says whether he gets out of prison or not, she will continue with the relationship, and if he stays in prison, she will continue making that drive down to Pontiac, Illinois, to see him in person.
Wow.
I'm really curious to know, how does her other family members feel about it?
Not very good, and that's what's so interesting about this, is that it's the mother and two sisters, and they all have very different opinions on how this should be handled, and yet they were all sitting down at Thanksgiving dinner together yesterday.
All right, a strong family, no doubt. Maureen, thank you. And you can watch Maureen Maher's story, Road to Redemption, on 48 Hours tomorrow night, right here on CBS 2 at 10 o'clock.